Good morning, my dear students. I hope you are safe and secure at home. Stay home, stay safe. Welcome back to our social studies online class, history part, 16th lesson, impact of colonialism in India. In the previous classes, you have studied how the colonial policies affected the forest in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. In this chapter, we will understand how forest, industrial, and labor policies affected the lives of people across the different parts of the country. Now let us discuss how forests were used before and during British rule. Back in the year 1865, most of the basic means of livelihood of the forest dwelling tribes were banned by the British. Let's see what happened. The forest tribes were largely dependent on the forest for their livelihood. Villagers thought a good forest was one that provided them with their daily needs such as fuel, fodder, leaves, and other things. However, the British thought differently. They felt a good forest was one that provided timber for building ships and railways. For this purpose, the British passed the Indian Forest Act, which completely devastated the life of villagers. The daily practices of villagers such as cutting wood, grazing cattle, collecting fruits and roots, and fishing were banned and made illegal. Forest dwelling tribes largely dependent on hunting small animals like deer, rabbit, and partridge for food. The British also imposed a ban on the hunting of small animals. However, they encouraged the sports of hunting of wild and dangerous animals like the elephant, lion, and tiger by giving rewards. In fact, if anyone was caught hunting illegally, they were severely punished for poking. Even shifting cultivation, which had been practiced for several generations by the forest tribes, were banned. Shifting or swidden cultivation was an agricultural system in which plot of land were cultivated temporarily and then abandoned. So the forest tribes depended on this a great deal. Shifting cultivation had a few disadvantages for the British, and so it was banned. So the land became useless for growing timber, led to forest fires, and also resulted on soil erosion. Furthermore, it was difficult for the British to calculate taxes. The Indian Forest Act snatched away the means of livelihood of many of the nomadic tribes. They were left only two options: either giving and change their occupation or take the stronger path and rebel. Some of them changed their occupation and were forced to work in tea and coffee plantations, mines, and factories at low wages, bad working conditions, and under strict government supervision. A few others stood up against the tyranny of the British, which led to many rebellions in the forests of India. While the Indian Forest Act was passed as a boon to the British, it proved to be a ban for the forest dwellers. Boon to British, ban for the forest dwellers. Adivasi revolts. We have seen how the conditions of the Adivasi farmers who lived in the jungle became worse in British times. The Bayaga, Muria, Gond tribes of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, the Koya Reddy and Kolam tribes of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and Saurya Adivasis of Odisha were no longer able to practice their old forms of cultivation. They started beating up people of the smallest reasons. They forced them to pay fines. They also forcibly entered into people's homes to take away their belongings. They ill-treated women, took bribes, got beggars, done by people. All these slowly became common. So the Adivasi started protesting against such cruel violence in many places. During the protest, they would burn down many police stations, posts of the forest departments, and houses of the money lenders. In many places, they would set fires to the entire jungle. Such protests were made by the Santal Adivasis in Jharkhand in 1856, by the Koya Adivasis of Andhra Pradesh in 1880 and 1922, by the Maria or Muria Adivasis of Bastar in 1910, and by the Gond and Kolam Adivasis in 1940. The Santal Revolt. From the beginning, the Santals of Jharkhand has been resisting and protesting against British rule. In 1855 to 56, there was a huge revolt in which the Santals started looting and killing the Jamindars and moneylenders. The Santals declared that British rule has come to an end. They wanted to make a free state for the Santals, but they were armed only with bows and arrows and were not strong enough to stand against the gun-bearing British army. By the end of a fierce battle, 15,000 Santals were killed and their revolt was finally suppressed. The revolt led by the Birsa Munda. Between 1874 and 1901, the Munda Adivasis of the Chotanagpur Plateau, which is now in the state of Jharkhand, came together under the leadership of a young man named Birsa. They wanted to get rid of the British government that protected the Jamindars, the moneylenders, and the courts of law that had deprived the Mundas of their land and their rights over their forest. Birsa was thought of a Bhagwan god and people followed every word he said. In the end, the Munda rebellion was suppressed by arresting the leaders and putting them behind bars. Birsa Munda died in prison in 1900. Forest revolt in Kumaon 1921 to 22. In the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand, the peasants started protesting because their rights over the forest were being taken away by the government. So they refused to cooperate with the forest department. They openly broke the rules of the forest department. They also tried to burn the jungles used by contractors. Next, Alluri Sita Ramaraju. Alluri Sita Ramaraju was born on July 4, 1897 in Pandrangi village in the Visakhapatnam district. His mother was from Visakhapatnam and his father was a native of Mogallu near Bhimavaram. His father was an official photographer in the central jail at Rajahmundry. Raju's father died when he was in school and he grew up in the care of his uncle Ramachandra Raju. After Madras Forest Act was passed in 1882, it restricted the free movement of tribal people in the forest. They were now stopped from engaging in their traditional Podu agriculture system. Raju led a protest movement in the border of area of East Godavari and Vishakhapatnam district of Andhra Pradesh. Inspired by the patriotic zeal of revolutionaries in Bengal, Raju raided police stations in and around Chintapalli, Rampachodavaram, Dhammanapalli, Narsipatnam and Annavaram. Raju and his followers stole guns and killed several British army officers, including Scott Coward near Dammanapalli. So many tribal volunteers joined him using bows and arrows under the leadership of Malludura and Gantamdura. The British campaigns lasted for nearly a year from December 1922. Ramaraju was eventually trapped by the British in the forest of Chintapalli. He was shot dead with a rifle at Koyur village near Mampa village in 7th May 1924. Next, Komaram Bhim. Komaram Bhim was born at Sankapalli village in Komaram Bhim district. His father was killed in an attack by the forest department when he was 15. Then Bhim family migrated to Sandpur village in Kerimeri Mandal. He was leading a normal life by Jhum farming. A Jagirdar named Siddiqui, who was an informer of the Nizam, occupied Bhim's land. So Bhim killed Siddiqui out of anger and escaped from police to hide in Assam. After that, he worked as a laborer in coffee and tea plantations for 5 years. He experienced labor agitations. He learned how to read and write. He understood the situation in his place through his close friend Komaram Suru, who was his secret informer. He was inspired by the agitations and battle of freedom by Alluri Sita Ramaraju in Vishakhapatnam, and Birsa Munda revolt fought against Nizam's rule. By the time Nizam government used to collect tax in the name of Bambram and Dupapetti for grazing cattle and collecting firewood for cooking. Adivasis were impressed and inspired by the message Jal, Jangal, Jameen, water, forest, land. It means water, forest, land of Komaram Bhim. This slogan was given by Bhim to fight for tribal freedom and rights and oppose the tax. Nearly 12 villages in earlier Adilabad were ready to fight for their land. Bhim formed a guerrilla army with the young men of Gondu and Koya. He gathered and trained tribal people to fight with weapons. Jodhghat became the central place from where he started the guerrilla battle. Surprised by this battle, Nizam tried to attack on Adivasis. At last, on one full moon day, Komaram Bhim died in the battle against the Nizam's army in Jodhghat forest. Okay, children. Hope you all understood the topic in this lesson, how forests were used before and during the British rule and Adivasis revolts. Thank you.